Today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on a 2011 Chevy Volt. And this is good for 2011 through 2015 Volt. So the first step that you're going to want to take is activating the parking brake. If you don't know where that's located, inside the vehicle we've got the electronic button there on the right hand side. So pull that. Important to make sure that the car isn't going to move once you have it up on a jack. There are 4 points in the Volt where you can jack the vehicle up. We've got one right behind the front tire on both sides, and then one right in front of the rear tire on both sides. So those 4 points, I'll show you on the back side what it looks like. So you can see that there's a little gap, let's see here, right in here, gap right here in the plastic where you can see the frame of the vehicle. So that's where you can jack it up, and it looks the same on all 4 sides. So I've got it jacked up here, and then probably we'll need a light under the vehicle to get a good look at the oil pan. I'll show you where that's located. So you can see right there in the blue we got the oil filter. Okay, so we're gonna drain all the oil using the oil pan first, and then we'll replace the filter. So you can see the bolt right there that we're going to be removing on the oil pan. So make sure that the vehicle is properly lifted with your jack and that it's not going to fall. Usually it's a good idea to put an additional jack or stand holding the vehicle just in case one of the jacks fails. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the oil from that oil pan. You'll want a container to put the oil in, so I'm going to slide this guy underneath the oil pan. That bolt on the oil pan is a 10 millimeter, so I've got a 10 millimeter wrench here that I'm going to undo that guy with. Get that done first, then I'm going to pull off the filter. That you should be able to just get with the grip of your hand, depending on how tight it is on there. And then we're going to go ahead and let the oil drain. So once we've managed to get the drain plug open and drain a good amount of oil, then we take off the filter, and you can see we've got the filter here that's draining now, and there's a little bit of oil that's still dripping out. You can really leave this dripping for as long as you like. The more that you can get to drip out, the more fresh oil you're going to have in your system, so it's a good idea to let it at least drain for a few minutes. One thing that I find is that it helps to, light up here, helps to open this guy up, the oil cap on top, just to get a little bit of, release some of the pressure inside the system so that the oil can drain out a little better. And so once you open that up, you sometimes get a little bit more oil draining. It's important to not make sure you don't get any dust or anything in there. So I've still got the cap on there. I just loosen it up so that air can get through. And then make sure, if you're going to clean off any of this dust up around on the plastic here, you don't do that when the cap is open. You just don't want to get any of that dust in the engine. Now, for our oil and filter, I went with Mobil 1 Extended Performance full synthetic oil, and then you need to have a 5W30. This oil meets all of GM's requirements. If you have any questions on specific oil that you can use, you can look in the owner's manual of the Volt. And then for the filter, this is the Fram. I went with their highest end version, the ultra synthetic oil filter, and you can see the number here if you go with a Fram filter. So inside you can see slightly different than the AC Delco, which is the manufacturer's filter that I took off, but it will work fine. So now that we have the car draining oil, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the new filter on to the bottom, and then we're going to put that oil plug back on, tighten those up. Then we're going to start adding oil back into the engine bay. Now before we put the new oil filter on, it's a good idea to get just a little bit of oil on a rag or a fingertip and just kind of rub this along that rubber gasket that we've got on the top. And just make sure that we've got a nice nice seal on there. Sometimes these can sit on the shelf for a while and they get a little bit dried out, and so adding a little bit of oil in there and rubbing that on there, you're going to get a little better seal when you put it back on. So now that we've got the oil plug and the filter back on the bottom, it's time to add oil. So we went ahead and removed the cap, and then we've got a little funnel here that we'll use to get oil into the tank without spilling it. Now this is actually my first time doing an oil change on the Volt. I've had it for about 8,000 miles. It had 60,000 when I bought it, and according to the inside computer, it's got 38% oil life. The previous owner couldn't remember when the last time it was done. And he said he basically hadn't done it for about a year. You're supposed to change it in the Volt minimum of 2 years. Because these cars are driven so much on electric, the oil life may not necessarily be used up, but it's not a good idea to leave oil in there for too long. So I'm figuring that the oil probably hasn't been done somewhere between 1.5 years and 2 years, since I figured it'd be time for a change. So anyway, I haven't done an oil change on these yet, so I'm not quite sure what the oil capacity is. I believe that it's about 3.7 liters. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly add oil in through the funnel, and then we can check the oil over on this side, see where we're at as far as filling it up. And once we get to the end of the video, I'll be able to let you know how much oil I put in it roughly. So we're going to go ahead and add some oil, and then we'll measure it along the way. So now that we have added some oil and we check on the dipstick, you can see that the oil is just barely above that lower crosshatch section. So the goal is that we want to get the oil basically right down in the middle of the dipstick. You got those 3 little vertical pieces, we want to get it right at the middle one there. That'd be the optimal oil level. So we're a little below that, so we're going to keep adding until we get it just to where we want it. So now that the oil level is at that happy medium where we want it to be, you got to remember to put the cap on, and that is an important step. You don't want to forget to put that back on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to jump in the car, and we can go ahead and turn off the parking brake now that we don't need that. It looks like it's not going to let us do that till the car is on. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn that guy off. I better open my garage since the car turned itself back on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull the cord out. We got the engine running again, and it's letting us know that the hood is open and the back's open. Alright, so now that we've got the car on, we're going to go ahead and if you're not already on it, go to that oil icon, press select to reset. So you got your select button over on the left here. Push that. It says, are you sure you want to reset? I'm going to say yes. Reset oil life. 100% oil life remaining. So that is a pretty nice easy step, and once we've done that, we are good with an oil change, probably for many miles, because most of my miles are electric. So there you go. That is how to change the oil in a Chevy Volt.